Rising wages, California's fast food workers started earning more money today, 25% more than they were making yesterday. The pay raise could mean higher prices at some restaurants and has reportedly prompted at least one Central Valley business to shutter.
Today, the employees of the Foster's Freeze in Lemoore showed up for work but got their last paycheck instead. Action News anchor Nick Garcia was in Lemoore tonight and talked to workers about the abrupt closure.
Some of the people who worked at this Foster's Freeze thought it was an April Fool's Day joke until they saw the close sign for themselves and reality sunk in.
I was like, okay, April Fools, be for real. Not April Fools. I realized that she was not joking. I drove straight over here and got my last check.
Monica Navarro got a phone call from her general manager informing her the location would not open for business again. All day, would-be customers drove in, then away, as they learned what the employees learned Monday morning. How does that feel to show up and there just not be a job?
It's jarring. It's like, okay, you can go home, and then it's like, I thought I was gonna work today.
It's hard to take it when there was no notice at all.
The closure comes the same day California's minimum wage for fast food workers rises to $20 an hour. Economic experts have been predicting closures and layoffs in the months leading up to the hike.
Most of the time, if not all of the time, the business owners have to pass those cost increases on to the consumer.
At this Foster's Freeze, the assistant general manager tells us that was supposed to be the plan: increased prices and shortened shifts.
He had actually talked to us like we were preparing to pay $20 an hour. Like it wasn't a possibility of us closing. He had said like, all right, on the schedules, we're gonna run smaller crews, we're gonna do a little bit of shorter shifts, people are gonna get their hours cut a little bit, but we'll be able to make it work. We're gonna raise some prices, but like, we're good.
That all changed Monday morning. Navarro says the owner told her he just couldn't afford to pay the new minimum wage. We called him to ask about the closure.
When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Lauren. This is Nick Garcia calling from ABC 30. At the time of this broadcast, we have not heard back from him. Now his former employees are worried about finding a new job.
Look for a job, because what else am I gonna do besides look for a job? Because I don't have one anymore, without notice.
And the challenge of finding a new job for some of the people here comes as they're trying to pay tuition for college and deal with other expenses. Also challenging for all involved, both the workers and the business owners, is inflation, making cost cutting all the more difficult.
What did y'all think was going to happen? Did y'all think that these business owners who are also mortgage holders and they have loans and they have requirements and things that's happened in their life, did you think that they was going to just continue to eat all of the costs that's being passed to them by legislators that don't even know how to open up a business or punch their way out of a wet paper bag when it comes to their business mindset and philosophy? This is going to have far wide-reaching consequences as you continue to see businesses close and economies shrink. And that's the worst thing that you can do, because we've lost our way as a society and as an economy and as a free space to actually continue to create. And then the value that you have or the value that you add is going to dictate how much you get paid. And so what we've done now is we've basically legislated ourselves all the way into socialism, to where there's no incentive for a business owner to do anything other than to just go and get a job and try to survive just like everybody else, until you get replaced by AI or you get replaced by engineers that then make sure that they make it easier for business owners to be able to operate without having to worry about what it is that they're paying you. Did you hear what they had already said? They had already told you, and basically the owner was hoping to stay open by saying, okay, listen, we can absorb the costs, but we're going to basically cut shifts, raise prices, which basically then passes it on to the consumer. When you pass the prices on to the consumer, what you basically do is you basically create an artificial inflation. Artificial inflation is not how much the value of a dollar is worth based off of how much we print, but it's based off of how much we have to pass the prices over to the consumers for survival. I'll give you an example. We can say that inflation is at 2%, 3%, 9% at times during the pandemic, but at the same time, for some of you, based off of what it costs you in order to be able to survive, You got to have a car in order to go to work. At the same time, you got to have insurance. Depending on what state that you live in, that insurance costs more, right? If you live in Florida, for example, a lot of the homeowners are suffering because insurance companies are pulling out because of the cost to be able to insure certain properties based off of whatever the certain circumstances or whatever the housing, right? If you live in a condo over in Florida or in a lot of these other spaces, what's happening is the HOA fees are increasing significantly, which is basically adding additional costs to what you thought you were paying for that condo or the location that you live in. And so when I say artificial inflation, I'm basically saying that what it costs for you to live is going to be completely different than what it costs for somebody else to live, depending on their circumstances. If you're the type of person that likes to cook your food every day, then you go to a certain store, the cost for you to be able to live in that certain place is going to be different depending on the type of lifestyle that you live, the type of food that you like to make, whatever stores that you shop at, whether or not you got to drive to the store, so on and so forth. And so it's not as simple as a calculation by saying, well, pay everybody a living wage, because that money has to come from somewhere. And when they have to pass that over to the consumer, and then the housing prices go up and the insurance rates go up and the interest rates go up and the cost of money go up and the borrowing goes up, and the mortgages go up and the gas goes up and the cost of food goes up, then you don't see any difference in the raise that you get, even though it's egregious at 25%. And then on top of that, businesses are not just going to close. It's going to be the survival of the fittest. There's going to be less jobs for people that weren't supposed to be doing these jobs long term anyway, meaning that these were supposed to be for college and high school students, but we made them careers. And then we said, pay people a living wage because you don't understand how money works. And what's happening is it's a ripple effect. The health of a country, the health of a state, the health of a city is all based off of how well small businesses thrive. It's not based off of the big businesses. It's not based off of the Amazons. It's not based off of the big box stores. It's based off of keeping the money flowing within that economy. And so when you see everybody running away from California while at the same time the housing prices and the costs continue to go up, these are the results of being overtaxed and bad legislation and policies that are affecting business owners, consumers, and then people that are trying to survive alike. Compound that with the idea that now we have a migrant crisis and these people are going to work for much less. Artificial intelligence, in which when you drive up to a drive-through within the next 2 years, it's a strong possibility you're not even going to be talking to a person. You're going to be talking to artificial intelligence that sounds so much like a regular person, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And this is going to become our new norm. You're going to have to order everything through an app. You're going to have to make sure that you go up to a kiosk. Cash is going away. You're going to have more software engineers determining how it is that your experience is going to be versus regular everyday people that are serving you. Your kids are not going to be able to go and get a regular job anymore. The housing costs are going to continue to go up. Your food costs are going to continue to go up. There's a lot of places over in California where just getting a burger and fries is going to cost you a minimum of $30. I told you guys a long time ago that the war had nothing to do with race. It had everything to do with class. You are living in a class war. You're not living in a race war. There's going to be so much of a divide between those that have and those that don't. There's going to be a richer, and a poor. There is no more middle class. You don't even know what it takes in order to be able to survive anymore. $100,000 ain't $100,000. Just 2 years ago, y'all was arguing with me on my panels, telling me that $40,000 should be enough for 4 people to survive. Had that same conversation with me today. $50,000 should be enough to survive between a wife and 2 kids. Had that same conversation with me today. You can't. You can't even pay your student loans. We're sitting here and we're having conversations about evictions exploding now that the rent moratorium is up in all of these places. It's only so far you can push people before it breaks. And I believe now we're getting to the breaking point. This is just the beginning. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Tap into the Patreon. We having conversations based off of stocks, investments, real estate. We meet up in person. It is important, more important than ever, for you to align yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you want to go in. Tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also on top of that, listen, after hours tonight, we're going to get it in. We're going to have conversations. We're going to have a good time. But it's looking bad out here. It's looking really, really bad out here. And I feel sorry for a lot of people that wasn't prepared for it. and didn't put themselves in a position to succeed, because you the ones that's going to suffer. You the ones that's going to be overtaxed, and you the ones that's going to get the cost passed to you as a consumer. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.